Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Art and Outdoor Life here with John. This was the final painting of my last video. I apologize for the glare. Um, I just record and I wing it. And the last video had a lot of glare in it, too much light. So on this painting here, I'm using cerulean blue. And I'm just kind of going across here. I found out something here. Interesting. Some of you might or might not know. When the sky is really blue, like completely blue, a light blue, like a cerulean blue, that means that there's hardly any moisture in the air. I never knew that. I just found that out recently. Um, so, and the more pale it gets and the lighter it gets, the more moisture is in there, as well as the clouds, of course. Anyways, I was sitting down here and using cerulean blue here. I am using a travel palette. This is off the top of my head, just for fun. I was getting these things, notifications, telling me, well, if you want, this is YouTube saying this, not me. If you want to, maybe suggestions from YouTube, okay? Try doing how to do videos. Try doing, all these different kinds of things, review videos and stuff. If you're not a YouTube, if you're not a content creator, YouTube sends you these things, like for advice. Like, I didn't ask for these, any advice. They do this all the time. Okay. And I'm like, I don't want to know how to do this or, for a title or, I don't want to do any of this, reviews stuff. If I really feel like I want to do that, then I will do that. Otherwise, no. So there's the travel palette I've been using lately. And if you noticed, I added some other colors on the top there. So putting mountains in the background. And it's wet. It's laying flat. I was just sitting at my coffee table, and like my last video I did, okay, I'm like that, I record and I just put it on, and that's the way I am. I didn't realize that the last video I had so much glare in it. I did it at night, and I didn't realize that, you couldn't hardly see any of it. I'm not going to take it off, of course. It's part of my journey. So anyways, I'm just using your regular colors here. Burnt umber, or in this case, raw umber with the cerulean blue. Yeah, the sky looks a little funky, and that's okay. Of course, I'm using a paper towel and a hake brush. And, these are fun to do again, like I said, if you can catch a minute a few minutes out of your day, even once a week. And by the way, the paper is laying flat again. I got my dogs with me and my cats, and they scared each other. So I'm wetting the top with the brush, and I'm just taking a paper towel and going over it. And so, but yeah, what I was saying in the beginning was, I found it out earlier in the week. I'm no meteorologist, but here I'm putting in a little bit of white, and this is about the only white I use on this painting. And I mean, I'm just doing it for mainly accents. I'm trying to accent the mountain range here. But yeah, so if the sky is blue, like completely blue, it means that the dew point is very low and that it's pretty dry. So that's something you can, if you don't know, you can put in your pocketbook with you. I never knew it until a few days ago. Okay, so anyways, I was sitting around, I'm thinking about, I watched my last video and I wasn't happy with it. The painting was fine. I didn't mind the painting. I was talking about, my situation, about, when I'm, in the past, when I've been out and about and stuff, all my travels, and then I would be sitting somewhere like, in a different state or different city, and then have a little time off, and I'd be out wherever it was, and people would come up to me and say, "Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay?" And I'd be fine. I'd be okay. I'm fine. But I would, I love to sit around and just look at nature, look at the scene, like absorb the atmosphere, know where I'm at, absorb it all, take it all in. And that was kind of, the last video I did. I was talking about that, and of course, my album that's going to be coming out in a few years, just a few years from now. But I didn't realize that, there was such a, the glare was really terrible from the light. So that's why in the beginning of the video I showed what the painting actually looked like, and I didn't touch it. So I'm just mixing it up around here. Okay, so this is burnt sienna, and in this here I'm trying to catch a little bit of a feel. It wasn't like a super conscious effort on this. Okay, okay. In other words, okay, you have your some colors are complementary to others, right? Okay, so you got your blue and your red; they're complementary to each other. And so that's what I was kind of doing with the burnt sienna and such. But I really like this painting. Even it's very simple. You can do this, and feel free to paint along, if you want to. And then, I have a little bit of, this is lemon yellow here. Okay. And I'm just testing the waters, literally on the water, right? Now the mountains in the back, I wanted it to be that way. I wanted, I was just painting, just off the fly. And I was thinking, you know what? We'll set that as a backdrop. Oh, did you see that? Yeah, rewind it. Check it out. I squeezed my hake brush. I squeezed the water off the hake brush on the paper. And yeah, go ahead and rewind it. You'll see all the water off of this. And this is a medium hake brush. And you'll see all that water spill on the paper. These hold a lot of water. I mean, I've said it a lot of times. I'm sure a lot of you who paint with these brushes know. Anyways, but yeah, I was like, okay, simple mountain scene, very simple. And then let's put something in front of it, push it back, right? So I'm looking at darker up front, and not necessarily flavor. I like to use the word flavor a lot, but flavor is something I've explained it in a few of my videos. Flavor is like spices, and such. Anyways, so coming back over here, I'm kind of going back and forth here a little bit. And if you can see it, I don't know if you've ever seen some of my figure eight compositions. That's the method I use to paint most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. I start out with a vision, like a vision of a figure eight. Okay? If you look closely at this painting, you'll see the figure eight. Okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go back to some of my videos. A few of them, I think I actually did put down figure eight. It's something I've never heard of any painter mentioning before, ever. But earlier this year, it dawned on me that I kind of paint in figure eight ways. Not all the time, but I don't know. Some people have dyslexia. We all have our own different ways and different views of looking at things, the way we see things. We don't all see things the same. Some of us, our minds are all different. And a lot of the time when I paint, not all the time, but it's kind of strange. I paint like I see a figure eight in my mind, and I paint according to a figure eight. Not consciously though. And then it's afterwards. But I have done some videos on figure eight painting. I want to wish you a good, wonderful day, a good evening, and a good morning, wherever you are. You know what? I really appreciate you coming back. And no, I'm not going to be doing what YouTube is telling me to do, asking me to do. That advice. Yeah, maybe down the road I might do a how-to video, in the title, or a review. I've done a review before. I've done some how-to videos before. But right now, I'm just comfortable, just playing around. Now, look at this, scraping with a little piece of a card, and you'll see how it turns to the reddish tint. Well, that's what the paint actually has in it. It's a brown with a little bit of a reddish tint, but you don't see the reddish tint, right? Until you scrape it. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're like, what? Anyways, I'm just having fun here. Beautiful lake. I mean, imagine yourself. You're on this lake, right? This could be Canada. It could be Europe. It could be South America. It could be Asia. It could be the land down under. It could be anywhere. It could be your local park, you know. So I'm putting in some green here, sap green, just touching it up here and there. I wanted to add a little bit. This is the flavor, right? This is the flavor. The flavor doesn't mean that it's got to be red, or juicy or nothing like that. So it kind of gives it perspective. Just a little bit of green here. And then I'll add a little bit of yellow here. Lemon yellow. Just to touch it up. And it makes it all so nice.